Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go! Okay, Solly, you've had quite the career, and it's still going on, just in a different capacity. In October, your jersey gets retired by the BC Lions. Where does that one stack up?
That's definitely on top of it. I've had a lot of accomplishments in my life, but being inducted to the Beast Lions Wall of Fame, having my number retired, it's a fantastic feeling. It's something that I remember being in the locker room with all our guys as a young player, and we always just look at those numbers retired in BC Place, and we always just compare stats and try to find out what it would take to one day have our names and numbers up in the rafters. So it's definitely a tremendous honor. So many people to thank, and couldn't have had a better, more excitement for the opportunity. So special shout out to BC Lions, and can't wait to see all the fans out there on October 4th.
I had the pleasure of watching you, okay, up close on the sidelines and everything like that, so I got to see it right firsthand. But if I didn't see Solomon Elimimian play, give me a sentence to describe how you played for somebody that never watched you play. Could you do that?
Oh man, I would say with extreme tenacity and physicality. That's the best way I can explain, my game, physicality, tenacity. That's one thing that I actually do miss about football is the violence. It's a very violent sport, and obviously there's things that we're doing on both sides here to make it more safer. But it was a big outlet for me growing up in inner city LA, being a kid with a lot of negative influences, never really having many opportunities. But I always understood, all you need is one opportunity, and football was an outlet for me to display my skills, and I play with such tenacity and physicality.
And this isn't a downgrade to the CFL at all. You know how much I love it, but this is a second chance league. It gives people a second chance, even like Americans who get maybe for one reason or another overlooked for the NFL. I mean, let's be honest, Solomon Elimimian growing up where you didn't even probably know where the hell Canada was or care very much where BC or Saskatchewan or any of these places are. But you come and play pro football here. So I love the second chance aspect of the CFL. What was your first thought when you got here to the Canadian Football League?
So many. Canada, never thought I'd play in Canada, and, thinking it was going to be cold 12 months out the year. But you said it. CFL is a fantastic league. I think it's the best league in all of professional sports, and it's a league of second opportunities. And when my NFL aspirations, got the door shut on it, I didn't really know much about CFL, and it's a lot different atmosphere now with some of the partnerships we have with CBS Sports and the broadcasting to be able to get CFL in the States. But it wasn't back then. And I remember my brother just saying, hey, you should go do a tryout with the, CFL. And I'm like, well, what is a CFL? And, that changed my life. The best league that that I could imagine. And like you said, a league of second opportunities. And actually, Wally Buono came down to Los Angeles and worked me out personally. And I remember coming up to Canada, Kamloops for training camp. I was last on the depth chart. And after being cut from the Buffalo Bills, just thinking, man, is this going to happen again, right? And really didn't have a plan B. And I just put my best foot forward. And, Canada's a fantastic league. And I tell everybody, in the States, hey, listen, Canada is a fantastic league. It's, top class. And, the NFL isn't the end all be all.
So why? Like, you know me, man, I defend this league, Canadians, Americans, everything. Why do we need Americans to validate this league before we think it's a great league? And that's just not for the CFL. Music, entertainers, we don't think we're good till Americans tell us we're good. I don't quite get that. So, why do you think that is?
Well, if you get the answer, let me know. I don't really understand it. I think more so it's just being able to consume it. I think the CFL is doing a better job of getting people to consume the product, watch the product. And when people do watch the product in the States or wherever, they're blown away by the level of talent the CFL has and the level of excitement. We always have a term about the last 3 minutes and how the game is still alive in the last 3 minutes of a match, and you can never just turn the TV off, because if you do, you're going to miss exciting last 3 minutes of the game. So I don't understand it, but I think we're doing a lot better job of broadcasting it and marketing it to the states to be able to let people consume the product. And once they do, they're blown away by the level of talent and excitement of the game.
Okay, I got to turn around here. So back in the 70s, before you were even probably a thought in the world, we used to have these. I'm telling you how old I am. We used to have these at Dairy Queen where you could go get your Blizzard or like your Sunday in a helmet. Okay, I don't know if we'd ever get to that again. But like I go to Tim Hortons and I can get a PWHL Barbie doll, like for the women's hockey, right? Like I hope this league can start working some of these partnerships, because like why can't I go to a Dairy Queen and get this? Why can't I go and get like a CFL? I don't know, Hoggy melt at Arby's or something like that. We need to continue to prosper that way, because I think that's one of the biggest things that's been missing in this league is making our guys stars and having a partnership. Are you seeing more inroads that way with the CFL?
Yeah, I think you have a new commissioner who has a vision for the league, and obviously he has a tremendous broadcasting background, come from TSN, and I think he understands the importance of growing the game, and that starts really with grassroots. You have to, get the grassroots involved, and there's a lot of talent. I mean, you look at the Canadian League and how many good football players they are. We talk about American, but the Canadian talent is top class. I mean, I can go through a list of just players that are just, a cut above, right? And it's not a Canadian American in terms of talent. It's, man, this guy is good, and it doesn't matter what his nationality is. So I think the CFL Stewart is looking at ways to grow the game, and like I said, I think it starts with grassroots. But like you said, those things there, getting the young youth, the kids engaged, things like bobblehead, just different ideas, and that's one thing that we've done here in the CFLPA, and is trying to interact our fans with our players. One of the best things about Canadian football is the interaction you have with the fans. It's such a close environment, close atmosphere, and I'm sure you understand. We partner with Lids this week, and that's going to give our opportunity for fans to really engage with our players on a different level, on a closer level, where they can get their, favorite players, autograph on a Lids, call it a Lids cap, right? So, just different ways of growing that connection with our tremendous fans.
Yeah, that's a great initiative. I saw that on your Twitter feed, the CFLPA Twitter feed. So I think it was Stavros Katsatonis had his Hamilton hat on with number 30. That's cool. Like you can get that, and that is a way to identify with the players. Through your eyes in the first half of this season, how are you seeing the action in your role with the CFLPA?
You know what? I think the game is very exciting. It's fun. It's fast. Like I said, last 3 minutes, you never know what's going to happen. I got some stats for you because I knew I was going to come on your show today.
Yeah.
Scoring 54 points per game. This is the highest since 2008. And overall game quality index is 8.3, and that's based out of 10. Quarterback play. And personally, this is probably the best overall quarterback play that I've been around in the CFL for over a decade. Highest league-wide, completion at almost 70%. That's the highest in CFL history. Pass rating is over 100%. 50% of the games in 2005 have been decided in the last 3 minutes of the game. And you look around the league, there's so much parity. Every team is jogging for position. And I think this last half of the season is going to be very exciting, because I'm looking across the league and there are very good football teams, and every team has a shot. You look at the quarterback play, you look at the plays of teams, every team has a shot, right? And I think that's going to lend to a lot of exciting football down the stretch. So from what I understand, tickets are up this year, which is a good sign. And, we're getting ready for the 2026 broadcasting deal, where our deal is up with TSN, and that's going to be a huge opportunity to expand in the CFL.
So, okay, so you're I'm glad I got you sitting here, man. All-time great defensive player. So I have a new perspective, all right? I grew up very offensive minded. That's what I played. That's kind of how I taught my son when he went to UND, he turned to defense, so now he's defense special team. So I have a more appreciation watching it now, okay? Do we walk a fine line here, Solomon, that like, I know people want to watch offense,
Yeah.
but it's like you can't play defense now. I can't touch a guy. I can't even look at a guy. It just kind of bugs me. Is it tough for you to watch a game as a former defender sometimes, man?
Well, listen, I think I would have a tougher job of playing, the way I played, the style I played, in this day and age. But as more information comes with health and safety, you have to take those, you know, I guess, information and apply it to the game. I look at a guy like Micah Alway, and he is physical. I would say he's maybe more physical than I was. And, back in the day, those hits were par for the course. Now the environment is changing with the understanding of concussions and different things, and players are so much bigger and faster. So I've always been a defensive purist, but you have to cater to your audience. And let's be honest, the fans, they like scoring, right? So that's just the climate we're in. And ultimately, people want to see high scoring games back and forth and stuff like that. But definitely when I played, I understand you, Michael, when I played, I definitely liked a tighter game.
Yeah.
And, it's a different climate, right?
Well, you know what, Mike Alway, he reminds me a lot of you. He's a little bit, I would say, and I'm friends with Mike. I think he's a great player. I'd say he's a tinge more reckless than you at times, or maybe reckless isn't the right word. He just doesn't control his body as well as maybe he should at times. I love how he plays though. Like in some cases, listen, and I've got a kid in the game, so I've got skin in the game. Okay, I've got bloodlines in the game. All right, so I'm not just speaking out of my ass here. I sometimes think, though, this is football. You know what you signed up for. Like, we know these guys know what they signed up for. And I think these guys, and I said this before I had skin in the game, back in your day, these guys don't get enough respect for putting their body on the line. And yes, they're getting paid decent money for the average person, but it's not life-changing money. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to respect what CFL players, American, Canadian, global, bring to the table.
No, I think you're right. It's such an inherently violent game. Whether you play offense, defense, doesn't matter. It's a physical game by nature. And, you talk about all my accomplishments. Well, I think the biggest thing is trying to stay healthy, especially as a physical player. And that's why I got respect for a lot of, the physical guys like Micah Alway, because, he's at 30 years old, still hitting the way he hits. So, that's that's a different kind of makeup, right? Because at some point you have to kind of preserve your body to be able to play the full length of the season. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a physical game.
Okay, before I let you go here, there's so last year I thought Roland Milligan should have won the. I thought he should have been. You're the only guy that's won the MOP as a defensive player, and that is a real feather in your cap. I thought he should have been. What do you think when you watch a guy like that? Like, he's first in special teams tackles. He's the defensive leader. Like, it is not easy to do both those jobs.
Oh man, I remember watching last year. I don't think I've seen a defensive back take away half of the field the way Roland does. And you have to really understand football to understand what I'm saying, because if I'm a quarterback, I am hesitant to throw to his side of the ball because, he'll pick it off. Tremendous ball skills. And one thing that's really surprising is a lot of times you see defensive backs where they either have good, call it pass coverage, pass defense, or they're pretty much physical. Roland can do everything. There is not a weakness in this game. He's highly intelligent. You can tell because he plays weak half, which is one of the toughest positions to play in the secondary. His ball skills are, top level. He's physical. He'll come down and he'll hit you. And for a second there, I thought he was going to win most outstanding player. He's so impactful. And I don't know if I've seen such an impactful defensive back in the last decade. The season he had, I'm talking about, as a season. Obviously, he has a long career ahead of him, but in terms of his impact for that season, it was tremendous. He was really taking away half the field. So I got nothing but respect for him. And I'll say one last thing. no one ever wants their record broken. I mean, people might say that, but no one ever wants their records broken, whether it's individual wise, because we're such competitors, right? So even though I was rooting for him as a person, I didn't want my record broken. But
I love it. I
yeah,
love that. I love that about you. I love that. Hey, and you mentioned versatility and all this stuff. I think, and it's not just about the riders here, but you think of Logan Furland. Here's a guy that played every position on the offensive line, like center. He goes to left guard, to right guard. Like that's like, hey, Solomon, you write with your right hand. Okay, now you have to write a report just like that with your left hand, and it better be legible, and I better be able to read it and submit it. Like it's not easy doing what he did.
no, it's not easy doing what he did because you got to understand playing interior is a lot different than playing the outside. Playing in, guard is different than playing for center and also tackle. And his versatility. I mean, you said it. It's very challenging. You got professional players you're lining up against, so you have to, your key's a lot different. So shout out to him.
Mhm.
But I'm super excited for this last half of the year. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's any team's, it's any team's game, right? Any team
Yeah.
can win this Grey Cup, and the level of quarterback play is unbelievable. The level of talent we have is unbelievable, and that's what I love about the CFL. I think that we're hitting our stride in terms of talent and and marketing, being able to market the players. Obviously, you talk about the teams. Saskatchewan. I played there. It's a fantastic atmosphere, a fantastic club. But fans will tell you they enjoy their stars. We have star players, and continuity is a avenue that we want to highlight. We want to facilitate where players can stay in the markets for a long time and flourish in those markets, like I did in BC. Because when you're able
Yeah.
to flourish in those markets, so many opportunities come, and fans will spend money to buy a jersey if they know you'll be there for more than one season. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for where the CFL is going to go, and I'm excited to see who's going to hoist that Grey Cup trophy this year.
Okay, two more quick questions for you, then I'll let you go. Hey, you mentioned quarterbacking. Nick Arbuckle is a great story in Toronto. Like the Argonauts, you think, okay, whenever he does come back, Chad Kelly, he's got the job. I'll tell you what, they're going to have a decision to make if Kelly comes back this season, or they'll have a decision to make in the offseason, because don't look now, but Nick Arbuckle's kicking ass in Toronto. He just threw for 430 yards. It's not his fault the record isn't where it should be right now.
You said it, Nick Arbuckle's having a fantastic year with all those changes around him in Toronto. I mean, the whole defensive line went to Edmonton, right? So they have a lot of changes, and shout out Dinwiddie, good play calling, but Nick Arbuckle's playing some fantastic football, and like I said before, I don't think I've seen a better group of quarterback play amongst the league. I mean, he's battling out with Nathan Rourke. They're going back and forth, and it's fun, definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, and you got a couple of graybeards too, like Bo Levi Mitchell and Trevor Harris. Had a tough one last week, Trevor, but they're
That
in the mix
just
too. Yeah,
keeps going.
yeah. Okay, so lastly, we've touched on this before, but I think it's worth bringing up here when we're talking about your jersey retirement. When I ask coaches who's the best player you ever had, blah blah blah, I asked Wally, and I didn't think I'd get a. I thought he'd just slough me off. He said, without hesitation, he said. Alan Pitts. That's who he said. Alan Pitts, and taking Doug Flutie out of it. Since he said take Doug Flutie out of it, Alan Pitts. Defense, it didn't take him a second. He said Solomon Elimimian. He said he goes, I like Biggie, but he goes, Solomon Elimimian was the best defensive player I've ever coached. So we got the greatest coach of all time in the CFL saying this about you. How does that make you feel to wrap things up?
Fantastic. The level of respect I have for Wally is, second to none. One of my favorite people, and helped me get to the level I got to. And he would never gave me any compliments while I played. He definitely knows his players, and he knows I thrive off of, challenges, right? So, being coached by Wally, he not only taught you football, but he taught you life skills. And that's one of the highest honor I could ever receive, is having his respect and having his acknowledgement in terms of, me as a player. And I played with some fantastic players. You named it, Adam Big Hill and so many other players. So it's an honor to be recognized by Wally in that regard.
All right, man. Well, thanks for taking your time in a busy, busy time for you. Congratulations on that upcoming honor, and continued good work with the CFLPA. I appreciate it.
Hey, Ballsy, thanks for having me on, and thanks for all your fandom and just pushing the CFL brand. And I always check your Twitter feed because there's always some explosive stuff on X. And thank you for all your work you do covering the CFL.
Appreciate it, Sully.
Thanks.
Rams head coach Mark McConkey defending Hardy Cup champs. That's got a nice ring to it, but it is a new season.
Yeah, to be honest, we try to forget about that in January and start rebuilding. It was a great year last year, but we're not talking about it this year. We're not allowed to wear any of our Hardy Cup champion stuff. We're on to 25 and we're refocused.
Okay, that's fine and that's fair and I get it, but you're also the host team for the Vanier Cup. Like the Vanier Cup is here for the first time ever. So I don't know, does the word pressure factor in? Is there excitement? Like that's hard to block that noise out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely exciting for sure. I'd say it's pretty cool. It hasn't been in the prairies for a long time. It was up at U of S quite a number of years ago, early 2000s. So yeah, we're excited to host the event, and it's you got to earn your way there though. So it doesn't really matter where it is. It can be in Kingston, Laval, or here. It's not like the other sports where you get an automatic bid into the championship tournament. So nothing really changes on our end. And yeah, it'd be awesome to play in a home Vanier Cup for sure. But we got a long way to go. We're at the bottom of the hill here. So
yeah. So, but before we haven't really talked much like, well, we haven't talked in this forum since you went to the Hardy Cup. So, what's it like to get to the precipice of the Vanier Cup and not quite get there? Like it's quite the ride, but like you just said, it's hard to get there.
Yeah, it was super hard to get there. I mean, Canada West, it's so hard. By the time you get out of playoffs and then you play Laval, and even if we did end up beating Laval there, like we would have been dressed in some first-year alignment to start. We just ran out of guys, and that's kind of part of Canada West. That's why Canada West always shows well, but by the time you get out of the conference, you're so beat up. You're not really putting your best foot forward. But yeah, it was an exciting season for sure. Definitely a lot of heartbreak when you're that close to having it. So it took me, I won't tell you exactly how long, but a lot of months before I really watched that film again. And but yeah, exciting for the program, exciting for the city. But ultimately, there's only one happy team at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's how it is in any sport. They do say, though, like the Memorial Cup's the World Cup for sure. Memorial Cup is very hard to win, but this is a hard trophy to win too. Not just your league, which is the best league in Canada, the CanWest League, but to win the Vanier Cup. I mean, you got to probably win at least 3 of your home games to ensure a good run at the playoffs, and not just the starts. And it's only an 8-game season, right?
Yeah, it's quick. Even talking to guys like Mark Mueller, Josh Donnelly on the Riders, like if they drop one early in the season, it's a big deal, but it doesn't mean as much as it does in U Sports. We only got 8 games. So you lose 2 games that you should have won. That's 25% of your season. And now you're okay. Now we don't have a home playoff. Can we even get into playoffs? So it's a little bit more pressure on each game because you only have so few.
Mark, what can you take from last year as a coach into this year? Even though it's a new year and you've put it aside, you're the guy, you're the surrogate father for all these guys. I know you're not old enough to be, but you know what I'm saying. What can you take from that and take it into this year to kind of guide them?
Yeah, well, I definitely feel old enough if that helps. But yeah, I mean, it was just a great experience for us. Like going into the playoffs, I said, okay, put your hand up if you ever played in a playoff game. And we had about 12 guys. How many of you ever won a playoff game? And I knew the answer, none. I never won a playoff game as a player. And so to have that experience of winning those high pressure games was something that you just can't teach. You can't coach that. You kind of have it or you don't. And that's why in all pro sports, you see the teams that have that experience, they're usually in the playoffs. They're there, but not quite there. Then they go on to do it years later. So that experience is invaluable for us. Absolutely. Even as a coaching staff of how we managed our way through playoffs and how we put solid game plans together. And it was just a great experience that you only get that through experience. And so we're coming back. We're a confident group, and now we know we can win. And I mean, we lost 5 straight games. We were out. Everyone counted us out. Yeah. So, and that's what I tell our guys. Like the ultimate goal, of course, it's always the Vanier Cup, but it doesn't really matter how you get there. Like we don't need to be 8-0. I mean, I want to be, but it's hard to do. You just got to get in the playoffs and just continue to get better as the season goes on. And that's what we preach every year. And it's all about our process, winning each week. And yeah, we might not win every game we want to, but are we consistently getting better? And can we peak at the right time, which is what happened last year.
It's kind of weird. Like you got so when we're talking about this team, how many do you have returning that can draw upon that experience from last year? Because, this football is cyclical, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a few actually. So we lost about 10 players and like some key players like Delaney, Jackson Sombeck, guys that just through graduation or to the CFL. I lost an old lineman, Connor Clausen, to an ACL in camp, which is unfortunate. So, but we do have the majority of our group is back at a lot of key positions. I know we're a little bit younger on defense. We lost some guys there, but offensively, like we got majority of our guys back. Yeah, we're going to miss Mims and some of those guys, but we're kind of picking up where we left off, and it should hopefully be an exciting year for us because we have that veteran group. And even training camp, Coach Stusik said, he's like, we just look like a veteran team. Like we know how to practice. We know where to go. We know where to be. We just look way more organized and efficient because we have that older team.
Yeah, that is good. And obviously, we always hear this in sports. You got to learn how to win. And you just described that. You learned how to win. So you can draw upon that, right? Like, I've watched some of the stuff online. You're a pretty good motivator, but the best motivation is, I always say this to my kids, and I've said it for years. When your dad or your mom tells you something and then it happens, that credibility builds up, right? And you get that street cred. So when dad tells you, just calm down and take a breath, it'll be okay. It's like, well, my dad's been right 99% of the time. Coach McConkey's told me, hey, just stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. And so you guys did learn how to win, and in some tight situations. It's funny too, because you're a landlocked school, you're like undergraduate school, you're on the prairies. And I'm not saying this to diminish the Rams, because I'm a Ram guy, but it's like, you got to hit lightning in a bottle in some cases. You're the underdog, even when you're not. Like, even when you're the defending Hardy Cup champs, you're the underdogs. Do you kind of relish that? Do you kind of use that to your advantage as a coach?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, again, like I'm excited to see the coaches poll. I hope we're last. I don't think we'll be last, but we definitely won't be in the top 2. I'll tell you that. And yeah, we're always the underdog. And like you said it, I know you took a lot of heat for it, but like, it's hard to win here. Any sport, any U of R athletic sport, it's hard to win here. We don't have the ocean. We don't have the life of Calgary and the businesses and the private, like it's hard to win here. So we just pride ourselves on working that much harder than all the other schools and recruiting the right people and trying to get guys in here. And yeah, playing well together and playing good Rams football. And we want to have a proud team that alumni like you can be like, I love the way that team plays. They're physical, they're mean, they're fast. And that's like Saskatchewan football. And that's the kind of brand of football we want to build here. But yeah, it's tough for sure.
Well, so let me stop you. I'm not asking you to comment because I know you can't comment, but we're here face to face. So I'm just going to say straight out, I'm a Ram guy. I was the first guy when we had the alumni to buy the package. Remember, I was joking at the alumni night. I'm fucking out of a job, and I just was the first guy to spend a couple $100 to buy tickets and stuff. So, like, listen, my whole point on that when I said was, you're not the first guy to go out of Saskatchewan to look for players. And it's not your fault what happens off the field in a lot of cases. I never said that. And you've always been respectful to me, and you've always been respectful to my kid. My kid has said 100%, Mark McConkey's a top-notch dude. I just wanted to go away from school, away from home to play somewhere else. That's what he wanted to do. That was his mentality, nothing to do with us. So that wasn't a shot at you, per se. My point was, we have lots of good Saskatchewan kids playing football more than ever. So if we can dig down a little more at the Saskatchewan kids, that's what I want to see. But I also acknowledge that you have to go out of province to find some players too. You do. You just have to, especially at the U of R. So that's all I was saying. And I hope you understand that, because it's not a shot at Mark McConkey.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I'll be honest, Mike, I didn't take any offense to it. Like I actually agree with you. It's like you talked about, it's hard to win here. And you got to kind of find different ways to do it. And yeah, when we recruit, similar to U of S, we always look in Saskatchewan first. Okay, what do we have? Okay, we got a lot of receivers. We're good. We don't need to go anywhere. What don't you have? Big old linemen and D linemen and some certain skill positions, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. It's hard to win, and you got to kind of find ways to do it. And yeah, I think we've done a good job in recruiting. And like, let's be honest, in the last number of years, even when Ethan was coming up, you get out recruited by bigger schools. I'm not going to name names, but some of the bigger schools, they just got more programs, more of this.
Yeah.
And now that we've had some success, we're getting a lot of those blue chip recruits that maybe not have ever looked at Regina, like Darius Crandall could have went anywhere he wanted. Now he chose us, right? And I mean, Davin Barry's from here, but he's close to going to other schools out west here, and he could have went anywhere he wanted. And like Owen Sieben, our quarterback from BC, could have went anywhere. So we're doing a good job, and we're promoting it. And yeah, it's hard to win here, but I think if we just keep promoting what we're about and what we do for the players, that we're going to continue to have success recruiting.
Well, look at it. Not just players. You just mentioned 2 guys. Josh Donnelly goes to the Riders. Mark Mueller, who I think is going to be a head coach in the CFL one day. Former Rams. You're a bright mind. Like, this organization also takes coaches to the next level too.
Absolutely. Yeah, we try to run it close as we can to a pro like situation. And I think even Coach Mason brought it up like last year with you, like Josh Donnelly, first year taking over the OC, and like we knew he was destined for the CFL. He just was so bright. He had it. He acted like a pro at 24 years old. And there's other guys on staff that have had opportunities or maybe will have opportunities down the road, which is awesome for him. And that's what it's all about.
Okay, two more questions for you. What can you tell us about the opponents here in week 1 as we get ready to defend that Hardy Cup?
Yeah, Calgary, they're a good school. I know last year they maybe started a little slower than they would have liked to, but they're a good team. They got better as the year went on. That defense they're no joke. I know they lost 2 good players in the back end. They lost Boschman and obviously Ethan there, and so those are 2 big holes to fill. So we're excited about that. But their front 7 didn't really change much, and yeah, they got a new quarterback, and they're going to be hungry, ready to go year 2.
Yeah. Okay. And then before we're done here, our friend Dwayne Mason, a coach on your staff, is in a fight for his life. Let's just be honest. He's battling cancer. So many people do. I reached out to him. When I found out about it, it was a real gut punch for me. Just your thoughts on that. Has he been able to be around the team much? And how are you, I don't want to say replace him, but how do you fill that void? If you never fill that void, but how do you try to fill it, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's an unfillable void for sure. Yeah, it was it was heart wrenching for sure. It definitely, kind of sideswiped me and the staff and a lot of the players, especially the running back room, the guys that have been here for a while and worked with Mace. So we've kind of shifted some coaches around. We got Coach Paul Harrison working with the RBs, and Jens Johnson, young guys kind of come on. He's doing Miller and Rams. And Paul's great. He's super organized, very bright guy. And Mace he's still watching film. He's still at home watching practice every night and texting those guys and talking to Paul and doing certain things like that. So he's around. I have seen him. A few of us went over there just to kind of visit him, and actually started his chemo today. So definitely always thinking about him. And I call him every day on my way home from practice just to check in, and probably annoying him. But yeah, it's a tough one. He's a tough one. He's a staple in the community, and he means so much to football in Saskatchewan. And we're with him, and hopefully the chemo does wonders and he's back next year.
Yeah, I saw your face kind of quiver there a little bit too, because that was a gut punch for me. Like, I don't know, what does he bring to the organization? Like, to me, he's just a deadpan guy. Like, he's not up, he's not down. He's just that solid dude.
Yeah, he really is. He's so much more. He's a great coach, but also like a great human being. And the joke on staff is that he's my dad. I always call him Dad. And when Gibson left and I was the interim head coach, I think I was 25. Yeah. And we were down in Texas recruiting, and one of the recruits' parents we were at a dinner or whatever eating, and she's like, "Oh, is this your son?" And then he laughed. He's like, "No, this is actually the head coach of the Rams." And so ever since then, I've referred to him as my dad. But he's been great. Like, I got hired on. I shouldn't have got the OC job. There was definitely more qualified guys in front of me. Interviewed well, showed the right characters that they were looking for, and Mace is a guy who took me under his wing and showed me the ropes because he's been doing it for so long. And always be grateful for that.
Yeah. And lastly, one more. Frank McChrystal is going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Isn't that that is outstanding? I know he was a big part of your life too, coming up as a football player, coming out of Calgary.
Yeah, Slicks, he's awesome. He's so well deserving. And I know you had a big part in that. And it's so deserving for him. And Bernie's right there with him on his shoulder. Those guys both deserve it. They do so much. And we actually had a lunch with our university president and Frank and Bernie and Doug McKillop, and it was just great to reminisce about the times with Frank. And I'm still bugging him to come out. He came in and filmed a Hall of Fame thing for a Rams player going in the U of R Hall of Fame, and had a good chat with him. And Frank's just awesome. He's just one of the best, and he's a guy I try to emulate when I'm in this role. He was here to serve the players. It was never about Frank, even though he thought it was, because he always said it was. But he was there to serve the players. And just the way he related to players and what he did for the guys. And I got big shoes to fill if I ever want to be close to Frank. And I'll never get there, but that's a guy I want to try to emulate and get close to.
Well, I'll end it like this, and I will say this, and you don't know what I'm saying, but I will say this. You have that characteristic about Frank, because you had no reason after, trying to recruit my son to stay in contact with me or him, but you did when he went to UND, you did when he went to Calgary, and you did when he got drafted and even playing. So I do appreciate that. And you know what? I encourage anybody whose sons are looking to play football, check out Mark McConkey, because you're going to look after your kid. That's the key as a parent. Believe me, it's looking after your kid. Like, so many times kids are just discarded as, and you see it at pro sports, but you just want them to care about the kid. That's what it's all about. I think that's what gets lost a lot of times.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, and it's hard to explain that. But I mean, even last night, I got a call from a BC mom. Her son had a concussion in the preseason game, and he checked himself into the hospital, and then he wasn't doing so well. So what do? I'm in the hospital last night till 3:30 in the morning, just sitting with him because he's 17 years old. His parents aren't here, and that's kind of what we do. Like it was a no-brainer. I told my wife, she's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll see you in the morning." Like it wasn't even a question. Like that's just what I do. I'm responsible for all the guys, and if I have a chance to help take care of them or ease that, especially the out-of-town kids, you try to do everything you can for them.
Well, I'm hoping that the Rams can hoist the Vanier Cup on home turf. It starts this week against Calgary. You got to get one to get it going. So get it in Calgary. Good luck.
Thanks, Ballsy. Thanks for having me.